Welcome back, artists. This week is St. Patrick's Day. So since St. Patrick's Day is coming up, we're going to do something really fun this week. We are going to create binoculars to find leprechauns. So let's learn a little bit about how we're going to make our binoculars. All right, guys, to get ready for our leprechaun hunt and create our binoculars, we're going to need a few supplies today. It might seem like a lot, but most of it is stuff that you'll have at home. And if it's not, it's something that can be substituted most likely. So the first thing that we're definitely going to need is you need two little cardboard toilet paper rolls, all right? So two cardboard toilet paper rolls. The second thing that you definitely need is a piece of paper. And then also you're gonna need some tape, right? If you have those three things, you can create some leprechaun binoculars. The other things we're gonna need to help us create them is we're gonna need a piece of paper. We're gonna need a pencil. We're gonna need glue. If you don't have glue, it's no big deal. You could use tape. And we are going to need something to color our paper with. So I'm going to use paint and a crayon. If you don't have paint at home, no big deal. You could do this whole thing with crayons. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The first step that we're going to do is we need to measure our paper out. So it's the size of one of these toilet paper rolls. So what I'm going to do is lay one right here, and then I just put a little line at the top, and then I scoot it over, and then I just put a little line at the top again. And then I'm just going to use my ruler to draw that line so it's a straight line so I know how big my toilet paper rolls are. And then I'm just going to cut that out. So you're going to go ahead and just cut out right along that line. You're going to save the part that is the size of your toilet paper roll, and the other part you can get rid of. All right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to end up painting this. I'm going to paint it. If you don't have paint, you don't have to use paint. You could do the whole thing in crayons like this. All right, so I'm going to paint rainbow on this paper. But first, I want to make mine a little bit more St. Patrick's Day-like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing a shamrock on this paper. So a shamrock or a four-leaf clover, whatever you guys call it. That way I know this is a special St. Patrick's Day leprechaun finder. So first draw your shamrock in crayon. You might want to draw it out in pencil first if you're not sure of how to draw it. It's always a good idea to do things in pencil first. I've drawn a lot of shamrocks before, so I'm just going right for it with crayon. And of course, if you're pretty good at drawing shamrocks, you can do the same thing. So I drew my shamrock in crayon and pushed nice and hard and really colored it in. Now I'm going to go and take my paint. So I'm going to use watercolor paint. Since I'm using watercolor paint, I need a brush. And I also need a little bit of water. So what you're going to do for this is we are going to paint this rainbow. So this is really cool because you're going to kind of mix the colors together and it's going to look really neat at the end. You're going to go through each color of the rainbow. So I'm going to start with blue. It doesn't matter really what color you start with. You just have to follow the pattern of the rainbow, so the colors that it would go in. So I'm going to do blue first. So I'm going to go up with my blue, get it nice and wet, spread my blue around. So then my next color after blue, I'm going to go to green next. All right, green is a special St. Patrick's Day color, so I'm going to go that way. I'm going to do green next. I'm going to blend my green right next to my blue. And there's going to be a part of it that kind of overlaps and blends together. That's what really makes this look cool at the end, is that kind of parts that blend together. So I'm going to go to green next. Then after green, what color comes next? Yellow. So now I'm going to go to yellow. Now yellow with watercolor paint doesn't always show up great because it's really light. So you're just going to kind of go through with your yellow. It might not show up great, like I said, but do the best you can. And then after yellow, since we already used green, the other color that makes yellow, or the other color that you use yellow to make, is orange. So we're going to go to orange next. We'll paint our orange row. Now I know it might be kind of hard to see these colors on the video because it doesn't really show up great. For some reason, the camera doesn't show the colors that great. But when it dries, you'll probably be able to see them much better. And again, like I said, if you don't have paint at home, and you're not using paint, this is all stuff that you could do with crayon instead. You could just do these stripes, these rainbow stripes, using a crayon instead of paint. All right, so now I go to my red. I'm going to do my red, and I actually didn't leave myself very much room for my last color. I'm going to go ahead and fit my last color in. And if you guessed purple, you were right. That was my last color. So now I'm going to fit my purple in. Okay, so I'm going to take my purple and just kind of squeeze it into that spot I had on the side. And then I have all of my rainbow colors on my paper. And this paper is going to end up being our cover for our binoculars. This is going to go over our binoculars. So it kind of makes them look a little bit cooler instead of just, plain old, simple binoculars. So now, if you painted yours, you're going to want to put it off to dry for a little bit, okay? So I'm going to take mine and put it off to dry for a second, and then I'll come back in a few minutes. All right, my paper is nice and dry now, so here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to start by taking my two toilet paper rolls and my tape. And what you're going to do is just take your tape, and you're going to tape these two toilet paper rolls together. If you don't have tape, or if the tape is not working, it's kind of hard sometimes to tape two round things together. So if these are moving all over the place and the tape's not working, there's another way you could do it. You could just take two rubber bands and wrap them around. That would work just the same. All right? So if the tape doesn't work or you don't have tape, you could just wrap a rubber band around your two toilet paper rolls, and that will hold it together just as well. So put your tape around. I would do definitely more than one piece of tape just to make sure it's nice and secure. So I'm going to do 2 pieces of tape. You're going to need actually a pretty long piece of tape to do this. So make sure you rip yourself enough tape and wrap your tape around and then stick it together. All right? So even if you don't do anything else, right now you already have your binoculars. If you look, they look like little binoculars. You can hold them right up. So now we're going to make ours special St. Patrick's Day binoculars by taking our paper and putting this around these. That's why we cut them to size. So first you're going to turn your paper upside down. Right where your shamrock is going to be the center. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by taking your glue, and you'll put 2 stripes of glue right down the middle, and that's where you're going to put your binoculars right on top of. So you're going to just kind of wiggle them in there so that way they're right on top of the glue. And then we're going to actually fold this paper around these. So if you don't have glue at home, again, this is something you could do with rubber bands as well. So if you don't want to glue your paper on, you could just wrap rubber bands around it, and that will hold it just as well. Because glue can be messy sometimes, and it doesn't always work perfect. So I did 2 stripes on the bottom. Now I'm going to do 2 stripes of glue on the top, 1 on each one. And if you look, my lines of glue, my stripes of glue that I didn't go all the way to the end. I don't want it to smush out over the side. So I'm going to fold one side over and press it down. And that way it's going to stick to that. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some more glue on. I know it seems like I'm using a lot of glue, but we really want to make sure that this attaches. So then you're going to take that other side and you're going to fold it on top of those stripes of glue and just kind of press it and move it so it sticks. If you have a little flap that's still hanging over, you see how I have this little flap that's kind of hanging over? I'm going to just carefully put a little bit of more glue inside. This is probably the most glue you're ever going to see me use on a project. All right, so I'm using a lot. And you just kind of push it down. If it comes out the side, it's okay. Remember, the glue will dry clear. And you're going to want to put it somewhere to let it dry. But now you have your Leprechaun binoculars ready to go find your leprechaun. If you want to even go one step further, you could always take a string and attach a string around so you can hold them around your neck too. All right? Good luck creating your binoculars, and good luck finding your leprechauns, guys. Have fun.